Hi, I'm Dave Suich. Welcome to my channel where we talk about all things spiritual. Today we're going to talk about the law of attraction. Now, I've read the book The Secret, I've seen the movie, and I've heard all about the law of attraction. It's a concept that I really believe in. During my 17 years of near-death experience work, I've heard sort of a theme over and over again, and that is people come back and they say things like, had I known how powerful my thoughts and words are, I would have paid more attention to them. Well, it turns out we do actually create our reality with our thoughts and words and intentions. And for those of you who are not familiar with the law of attraction, basically what it says is whatever you focus your emotions and thoughts and words on, that will tend to manifest. Now, this is not a new concept. The term law of attraction is just a new name for a very age-old concept that humanity has been aware of for thousands of years. So before that, we would say, be careful what you wish for. Because it tends to happen when you've got your mind set on something. And of course, there's the old Latin saying, fortuna audenta sinuvat, which means fortune favors the bold. You're bold, you're going to do something, and it seems like luck follows you. We have evidence of this from the Bible, a very old book. And basically they say, whatever you sow, that shall you also reap. And when I was a Christian, I thought this was a threat of punishment. You'd better obey God or, there's going to be consequences. But really, they're referring to the law of attraction. And even the word abracadabra that has been used by magicians in recent centuries is a over 2,000-year-old ancient Aramaic word that translates, I will create as I speak. So one of the things I've learned from my near-death experience research is that it's really important to pay attention to thoughts and words and where we focus our intention. So, you'll hear people say things like, I am just sick and tired of this. It's like, well, don't say that. You don't want to be sick and tired. If you're going to say something, say, I've had enough of this and it's not going to be part of my life anymore. That's a much healthier phrase. So we've got to be very mindful of our thoughts and words. But let's talk about how the law of attraction works, and then we'll give a few examples and talk about some real-world applications where you can apply it to your life personally. In Melissa Gate Perry's book, Being Humans, Erilym refers to this energy that's sort of the building block of creation as dark matter fabric. So I'm going to use that term because I think it fits. And basically, this dark matter fabric responds to whatever the intention is of the human being. And it doesn't know right or wrong. It doesn't know good or bad. It doesn't know what you want and what you don't want other than the basic law of whatever you focus on, whatever you're thinking about, that's what you want. So a hypochondriac who is fearing this disease or that, the dark matter fabric is going to say, oh, they're focusing on this, let's give them that disease. So it also works the other way around. If your intention is to have a good life and to have prosperity, both with health and finances, be surrounded by meaningful family relationships and friends and a job where you can make a valuable contribution to society. If that is occupying your thoughts, your intentions, your emotions, that's what's going to happen. Now, I don't like the way the law of attraction is presented in some spiritual teachings today. They make it sound like, oh, I'm just going to wish something and it'll just happen. It usually goes hand in hand with a follow-up with physical action. In other words, if I want an apple, I can't just sit here at my desk and say, I'm going to manifest an apple and it's going to appear on my desk. Now, that is possible. It is possible to manifest things using consciousness, but based on our current level of development here on planet Earth, it's not really possible, just as it's not possible for a 2-year-old to win a marathon in the Olympics. They're not capable of it, although the potential is there when they grow up. So as we grow up, we'll get better at this. But right now, it has its limitations. So if I want an apple, my first thing is to think about it, to desire it. I have the emotion for it. And now I've got to go outside and pick an apple off an apple tree, or I've got to go to the store and buy an apple. So it generally requires physical action. But a human being will do the physical action if their thoughts and words and intentions are focused on that thing. Let's talk about some of the things that we can do. We can't all manifest ourselves into being billionaires with our own private jets and, private yacht and servants doing everything for us, because if we all did that, there would be nobody left to do the work. So it's got its limitations. If I'm a 90-year-old man and I have a prosthetic leg and I'm blind in one eye, I'm not going to manifest myself into being an all-star player for the NBA. But it does work. It does work with major things in our life. Now, I'll give you a small example. My wife and I sometimes travel. Sometimes there's not enough room in the little travel trailer refrigerator, and we need to have a little cooler. Well, the cooler we had was kind of a cheap $20 cooler. It didn't keep things cool for very long. So we were talking about buying an expensive $200, $300 cooler that does a much better job at keeping things cool. Well, we didn't want to spend the money, so we jokingly, but half serious, we said, well, we're going to manifest this. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, we're in a park here in the city where we live, Jacksonville, Texas, and there was this big red cooler sitting on the picnic table. And we saw it from afar, and my wife said, look, there's the cooler. That's the cooler we're manifesting. And I'm like, no, that's probably a cooler that's broken, or there's something really gross in there, or somebody left it here. They'll be back for it. But there was nobody else in the park. There were no other cars in the parking lot. So she says, no, that's the cooler that we want to manifest. So I said, well, I'll tell you what. If there's still nobody here when we get back and it's still sitting there, we'll go over and take a look at it. So we get done with our hour-and-a-half walk, and, of course, there's still nobody else in the park. And we walk over to this cooler, and it looks pretty good from the outside. It looks brand spanking new. And I very cautiously open it up because I'm thinking, there's a snake in there or a dead rat or meat that's been in there for 4 months, something really disgusting. And I very carefully, slowly open it up. Looks brand spanking new. Clean, looks like it just came off the showroom floor. Well, that was that dark matter fabric responding to what our intention was. And it can happen with bigger things as well. Back in 1999, I came down with chronic tendinitis throughout my whole body. It started in my hands, went to my feet and my jaw. I spent 3 years in a mobility scooter because I couldn't be on my feet more than 10 minutes without having pain. So even to go to the grocery store, I had to use a mobility scooter. And I was really focused on the pain. And I would use the law of attraction the wrong way. Oh, I've got so much pain today. Well, that was bringing more of what I didn't want to me by focusing on it. And so what I started to do, encouraged by my wife, is I started being more positive. I started saying, even though I happen to be in pain at the moment, I know that I'm healing every day, that my body's getting stronger every day. And I would lie down in my bed and I would close my eyes and I would imagine myself, running through a forest, being young and healthy and having this youthful energy and having my body back and no pain. Well, sure enough, about 6 months into it, my healing began. And I couldn't walk a quarter of a mile without paying for that with a week of pain. And now I can walk 4 or 5 miles, 2-3 times a week with my wife, no pain. My body has healed 95%, and it's continuing to heal. And so the way the law of attraction works is it's not like just saying repetitive, mindless things, Oh, I'm going to have a new car. I'm going to have a new car. You don't want to say, I want a new car, because then you're focused on want, and want is something you desire but don't have. You want to focus on the emotion as if you already had the thing. So let's say you want to have a partner to have a good life with. You imagine, being with this partner that you like. You imagine the emotions that go with that, all those good feelings, and you hold on to that. And that's the most powerful thing that moves the law of attraction forward, that sort of motivates this dark matter fabric to work in our favor. And it's not instantaneous down here on Earth. It requires, an ongoing positive intention towards things. Now in heaven, you can manifest instantaneously. You put your hand out and you close your eyes and you imagine white light forming itself into an apple, and an apple appears in your hand. Well, here down on Earth, it requires a lot of time and a lot of effort. It's a slow process down here on Earth. And so it requires commitment. It's just like working out or doing cardio. If you lift weights or do cardio once or twice a month, it's going to have some benefit. But if you really want it to work, you're going to have to be consistent and regular with doing that. The same with the law of attraction. You have to be consistent and regular in holding on to the positive emotions to manifest the things you want. And of course, gratitude is a really powerful energy. But gratitude is a magnet for abundance of the thing that we're grateful for. So you can say things like, I am grateful for my health. I am grateful for my financial abundance. I am grateful for the beautiful partner I have, even if you don't have it. If you show gratitude for the thing that you don't have yet, that dark matter fabric is going to help manifest it. And the consistency is really important. It's just like those raffles that you do. You know, like you have an event and there's a bunch of prizes. There's like a bicycle and a microwave oven and maybe a gift certificate to Amazon and something like that. And they have a little jar in front of each one, and you buy tickets and you put your tickets in the jar. And the more tickets you put in that jar, the more probability there is that you're going to win that prize. Same with the law of attraction. Your ticket is thinking and speaking the words and feeling the emotion of that which you want to manifest. And the more you do that, it's like putting more tickets in that jar. It's increasing the probability. And if you look at people who have been successful, now I'm going to use an example. Forgive me for those that are triggered by this, but I'm not arguing on whether this person's good or bad. There's a lot of division around it. But the law of attraction is not limited to the spiritual side of the equation. You can use it for good or evil. And Donald Trump is very good at this. This is why he became successful in his business and real estate. If you listen to the way he talks, he'll say, we're going to do this, it's going to be great, and he'll talk about the good outcome that is going to happen as the result of that plan. He uses the law of attraction. A lot of famous, successful people use the law of attraction unknowingly, unwittingly. So another big part of the law of attraction is words. So if you hear yourself saying a negative thought, oh, I'm never going to meet that perfect man, I'm never going to meet, a good woman, counter it by saying something out loud. Because when you say something out loud, it's actually more powerful than a thought. Because to say it, you have to think it first. So you've got the positive thought. And then when you say it out loud, your ears hear it. And it kind of goes back into the subconscious and reinforces that. So if you're a person who's struggling with a lot of negative thoughts, you say it out loud. Now, I'll give an example. I worried for a long time about money. I quit my corporate job partially to do this spiritual work that I'm doing. And you don't do spiritual work if you want to make a lot of money, unless, you happen to be one of the famous ones. I think most people who do this spiritual work kind of have to have a side job. I've got a side job doing power plant consulting. So when I quit my corporate job, I had some savings, but the money wasn't coming in like before. And I really started to worry about money a lot. And the way I countered that is every time I had a negative thought about money, I would say out loud, listen, have you ever had a day in your life where you had no place to sleep, where you had no clothes to wear, you had no food to eat, you didn't have any of your basic necessities? No. It's like, are you going to be okay today? Yes. Are you going to be okay this week? Yes. What about this year? Yes. Well, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to be taken care of. It's okay. And I would say it out loud, almost like I'm trying to talk to a child, to calm them. It's okay, Dave. The money's going to come in. Things are going to be okay. And of course, that started to happen. When I started thinking that, I had been looking for work, and an old friend that I used to work with called me out of the blue and said, hey, we've got these power plants. We need some help. Can you do some consulting work? And so I got this consulting job because of the power of the law of attraction and manifesting. So let's talk about a couple of tools that you can use for this law of attraction. You don't want to say, I want. We kind of touched on that briefly. You want to say, I am. I am happy with the partner I have, even though you don't have the partner yet. I am happy with my financial abundance. Now, if you can't say that because your brain knows it's a lie, say, I wonder what it would feel like if I had this, or I wonder what it would feel like if, this were my life, and really imagine that and hold on to the emotions. So use words out loud to counter negative thoughts, and use positive statements. I am peace. I am love. I have this. I have that. I am grateful for this. I am grateful for that. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Until then, keep spreading your light and love.